What's going on, everybody? It is football season and we're back. Hopefully this is rolling smoothly. If not, we got an issue. But I'm going to be doing a best ball draft today. Welcome. If it's first time, hit the subscribe, like, comment. All football season, going to be here, live streams, talking football, Underdog Fantasy, best ball, up until opening day. Right now, I'm just doing a little test run, so wanted to see if this is going to be running smoothly and whatnot. If so, I'm going to be doing this regularly all the way up until opening day. I'll be talking about some insight, some stuff like that, as to matchups, plus EV, it's all the nerd shit, whatever. But picking the best team possible. Now, obviously, it's a shot in the dark, but giving yourself the best chance possible is how you have to do it. All right, now let me pull this bad boy up and let's get after it. Hopefully it pops up. Let's see what we got here. All right. If it doesn't, we got issues. All right, let me see. Hope everybody's good out there. I'm doing the test run here, so hang with me. Draft will be live shortly, as I have the what do I have? The 10 pick in the draft in this one. So starting at the back end of the first round, talk a little strategery. Let's see if we can't get that up here and get after it. All right. Let me see what we got here. That ain't right. All right, hold on. That's just a little more of the love on the line. All right, this ain't working. I had this pulled up, and then the website just absolutely crashed on me. So here's what we're working with here. Let me see if we can get this. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. So in the 11th spot, we'll get right on after it. It's not as pretty as I wanted it to be on the background and whatnot, but, we'll make it work. All right, so best ball. The idea of best ball, if you haven't ever done it before, is fantasy football. The only thing is that you never have to set your lineup, which is a cool thing. So you can do you can do as many lineups as you want to, and you never have to set them throughout the season. Now, obviously, I did have some in some of the best ball mania in the beginning of the draft. Or in the beginning of the season. All right, so starting off here, I'm talking too much. All right, so starting off the rip, I'm going Puka Nacua. Everyone, I think that Puka is about as good as it gets. When you look at Matthew Stafford and some of the top receiving seasons of all time, it's Stafford, Calvin Johnson, Cooper Kupp, him last year. I would have liked Marvin Harrison on the get-around. They play Week 17, so Week 17 stacks are underrated in this one. And some of my favorite ones, let me go ahead and snag Nico here, and then love me some Nico Collins. Don't really love going heavy receiver, but when it falls like that, sometimes you got to. All right, so now I got a little time in between picks. We could talk about some strategy and what I like to do, and some of the ideas of best ball. First things first, I'm going to make sure that this is up and running smoothly, because otherwise it's just a waste. Oh, we're cooking. We're up and running. All smooth. Sounds good. Looks good. Looks decent, I guess. So you can see what I got here. So this is one of the light ones. I just put a couple bucks in here. As we get closer to football season, I will be doing the best ball mania, the big ones. This is just one of the small pots. With a lot of injuries and stuff in the preseason, at this point, I like being light. You get caught with an injury or something, then you're in trouble. Now, in the off season, May, June, July, I have a good amount of best ball lineups already in there, but I'm saving my heavy portion for the final week after the preseason ends. Anyways, best ball. Idea, strategy. So, stacks are extremely important, whether they're quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, running, whatever. Those are extremely important. You want at least 2 stacks at minimum. If you can get 3, it improves your chances. Now, the way to win in these kind of tournaments is you have to be different. So a lot of people take 2 quarterbacks. That means if you were able to get 3 quarterbacks and 3 stacks, you just increase your opportunity to win. We've seen that over the past 4 or 5 years. This is number 5. So the past 4 years, we've seen that happen multiple times. Last year's winner, 3 quarterback stack. And one of the things that people don't really look at as much is the Week 17 stack. So Week 17 is the championship. If you're going to win in a big pot, you got to have a couple Week 17 stacks. And some of the games that I like, when you're looking at Week 17, you're talking about the peak of December. You never know about the weather. There's so many different things that can come into play. There's no one thing that's given, but I prefer domes. So if you can get one of the, some of these dome games, that's what I like. If you wonder where Puka plays Week 17, they plays Arizona Cardinals. I love that Arizona Rams Week 17 player stack. Now, when we're talking about Week 17, that means get back. You're going for 2 different teams. Less your team stacks, but more so, opponents. So the Rams play the Cardinals, so you want to kind of pair a Ram and a Cardinal, ideally. Another one, Texans and the Ravens. I think that has potential to be one of the highest Week 17 scoring games. And if you can actually look at the team totals for Week 17 and get a general idea of what Vegas thinks of those games. And a lot of the dome games are the highest projected totals. Some of those, we have the Rams and the Cardinals, the Texans and the Ravens. We have the Packers and the Vikings. We have the Saints and the Raiders. I think is an underrated stack that it's an ugly one. Raiders aren't really a fast-paced offense whatsoever under Antonio Pierce. They're going to be dirt slow. The Saints just suck. I mean, Derek Carr, hopefully Derek Carr gets benched at some point this year for who knows who, but Rashid Shaheed, guys like that, big potential in Week 17. All right, so coming around round 3 here, looking at the guys that we have lined up. So I already have Nico Collins. So if Tank Dell were to fall, Tank Dell might be my favorite receiver for what it's worth this season. His chemistry with C.J. Stroud is unbeatable. We saw it last year. We've seen it all off season pretty much. These guys are attached at the hip, and that is always a big bonus, especially when you get a little diva like Stephon Diggs. But anyways, Tank Dell goes off the board here, and Isaiah Pacheco falls to me. Isaiah Pacheco might be my favorite running back this year, at least for his ADP. Pacheco he's getting all the work, which is a huge thing for the best offense in the game. And one thing about Pacheco is, I'll talk about that here after I got this pick here. So, looking at this one here, not my favorite setup here at all where I'm looking. But I'm going to go ahead and snag Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is one of these guys, underrated. Every year, the dude just absolutely balls out. Last year, he put up phenomenal numbers with Joe Flacco, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, an injured Deshaun Watson. He had 4 quarterbacks last year, and he played phenomenal. Now, obviously, he does play the Dolphins Week 17 in Cleveland. Anytime you get Cleveland weather Week 17, that is an issue. But you can't just cross out those names just because of weather. Last year, one of the most important games in Week 17 was probably one of the ugliest ones that you're ever going to see. It was the Jets and the Browns in absolutely nasty conditions. Sure enough, Jerome Ford, Njoku, Breece Hall, these guys had massive games, which ended up being strongly correlated to, top finishing teams. So just because the weather or, maybe the team total or whatever isn't looking so hot, it doesn't necessarily mean everything. In the end, being different is key. But you also got to, having probably the most important thing to winning in best ball is having enough players active and alive in week 17, in week 15, week 16, week 17 when it comes time for the playoffs. It's a brutal NFL season, so you want to be semi well balanced throughout the board. But anyways, coming on down. And if anybody has any, I don't know if anybody's even watching over here, but if anybody ever has any questions or anything, you can throw them in the chat or throw it in the comments. I'm always free to answer anything, especially if you're new to best ball. If you're new to best ball, it's very similar to fantasy. The only difference is that you don't make any changes throughout the season. Once you draft your team is set. So you want to have balance, or at least, two quarterbacks, two tight ends, just in case of injury or anything like that, and a semi-decent balance. Now, some people love the hero RB, where you just go heavy RB early or heavy wide receiver early, and then you kind of get a little off balance. And everyone has their own strategy. There's no one given way. People love, what do they call it? Bully tight end. I mean, some people take two tight ends in the first, 6-7 picks, which is not necessarily what I like. But if they fall in the right spots, it is what it is. All right, so let's see. Let's check out what we got here coming up for the... All right, so picks 59 and 62. Some of the guys I'm looking at here, from a fantasy perspective, Anthony Richardson, I think he's quarterback one. It's my hot take. As far as points per game, I think Anthony Richardson is going to be number one. Now, whether or not he stays healthy is a huge question mark. But even with his just minimal talent, I mean, at this point in his career, he's not the most talented person. He's only played like 20 games in his career between Florida and Colts and whatnot. Like, he's not very experienced. But the man is an absolute freak of nature. Quite possibly the most gifted quarterback we've ever seen. I mean, 6'5", 250, 40-inch vertical, runs a 4.5, RAS score in the combine, scored a perfect score pretty much, the best quarterback athleticism that we've ever seen. But do I like him here? So Josh Jacobs is somebody I really, really don't like. He's dust. But if he falls to the right spot, like this one here, you got to go for him. I mean, so his average draft position there is 49. I have probably Josh Jacobs, I might have the least exposure to of any of the starting running backs in the NFL. But damn it, if that man isn't a beast. All right, let's see. So starting off early here, got a little 3 receiver, 2 running back setup looking early. Richardson, tough one to pass up, but I'm going to go with Mr. George Kittle. Kittle is somebody who in best ball I think is at least in Underdog. So Underdog is half-point PPR, which is a key thing to understand. I have a bunch of smaller ones in DraftKings as well, which is full-point PPR. Completely different strategy when you're talking about full-point PPR. When we go full-point PPR, I go all the way wide receiver, quarterback, tight end heavy, and end of the line. You give me any running back that catches passes, like someone like Jalen Warren or Zach Charbonnet, guys that have established third down roles that are going deep in the draft. They're not guaranteed 10 points a game, but when you're getting those, so on Underdog, half-point PPR, if you have one of those games, 5 carries, 15 yards, 4 catches for 30 yards. I mean, you're talking about 5 damn fantasy points for Underdog. But DraftKings, that's 10 points, and that will get the job done. But we're on Underdog, so half-point PPR, got to keep that in mind. All right, so coming around, let's see what we got here. See what we're setting up with here. So at this moment, I have nobody getting back. No get-backs week 17. So none of these teams play each other. So I definitely want to not only stack the quarterbacks of these guys here, but I also would like to stack some week 17 opponents. So Puka Nacua, that would be the Cardinals. Maybe Michael Wilson, wide receiver for the Cardinals late in the draft. Greg Dortch, somebody like that. Those are solid players who are, in a spread offense and that I think is underrated coming around. Somebody on the, as for the Nico Collins one, you're looking for some Baltimore getbacks. Somebody that I like whenever I'm taking a bunch of Houston players, my final pick in the draft is almost a given that it's going to be Keaton Mitchell, the running back from the Baltimore Ravens coming off a torn ACL. So he goes dead last round, but he is somebody who has the explosion and the talent to win Underdog Fantasy by himself. I'm not high on Derrick Henry, especially compared to the market. I think that Derrick Henry, as old as he is, sure, the offense is set up, with Lamar and that offense, he should do well, and I expect him to do solid, but he's not catching passes. Lamar does not really hit the running backs like that, so he's not catching passes. He's pretty touchdown reliant, and when you get down there with Lamar Jackson, the touchdown fiend, it's going to be tough. But once again, Keaton Mitchell's only one injury away from a 30-year-old man with about 1,500 carries, over 1,500 carries under his belt, over 2,000, I think, for Derrick Henry at this point in his career. So those are the kind of players that can win you an Underdog Fantasy. When you get down to the end of the draft, you take some flyers. Take some people that people aren't drafting. When you get, these first 150 picks, they get drafted by every single team, every single where. So there's going to be a lot of combinations come playoff time, fantasy playoff time, where everyone has the same combinations. You need somebody different that could possibly win it for you. All right, coming around here, Hollywood Brown dropping like a brick as he was injured. Jordan Addison's another one there. Injury. I hope Ladd McConkey. That's what I'm looking at here. I want Ladd. I want my guy Ladd. And he falls. So Ladd McConkey. Let me talk about Ladd McConkey for a second here. Everybody and their mothers are talking about Jim Harbaugh and the way that they're going to run the ball this season. They've got dust at running back. Gus Edwards, dust. J.K. Dobbins, beyond dust. And then I do like but I'm actually going to go ahead and knock out my 2 tight end set here and snag Jake Ferguson. So Jake Ferguson is somebody that I think has potential to be top 4, top 5, top 3 tight ends in football this year. Given that the Dallas Cowboys made 0 offseason changes for the most part, who's going to get the rock for them? Jake Ferguson's a touchdown machine. I see him. I think 10 plus is very much in the realm of possibilities for Jake Ferguson. So that's that. All right. I'm all over the place in this draft here. This is came into this one with. It's also one of the quick drafts, the 15-second clocks, which absolutely sucks. I'm not a fan, but I just wanted to do a quick one here to just test it out. I will have more of these, and if you ever want to come back and watch through, you can skip through the video, see my picks, see my analysis and whatnot. But I thought this would be fun, just to get back in the football swing of things. Man, I miss it. Took about a good month and a half off of baseball. Actually, I didn't do baseball at all this year, which was an absolute blessing. Every year I pick up after the All-Star break, but baseball is tough. Baseball, I fight for my life, same as just about everybody else, to break even. It's not my most profitable sport, not in any way, and sometimes it's about being smart. So, but anyways, coming through October and whatnot, I will be doing baseball again. But once we get time for playoffs, but NFL, it's NFL season. I mean, it has been NFL season. It is the cream of the crop, rise to the top. Going to be a lot of streams, a lot of content. TikTok. I don't have my things up here. They actually got covered, but Twitter, Ghost Picks, actually Pat Sports Bets. You can go check that out at TikTok and on Twitter. I'll be all year long. Also, if you're watching, hit the subscribe, hit a like, drop a comment. Talk to some guys that you like in the draft or in fantasy football this year. Some of the guys that you think are going to be some of the top guys. I'm not going to get this guy here, but speaking of best guys in the draft or in fantasy football, Jordan freaking Love. I think Jordan Love has potential to win MVP this year. I've never been higher on a team than a group of skill position players than the Packers. Never seen a draft as good as they had last year. It's just every single one of them. Dontavian Wicks, godsend. If he just needs to see the field, he's behind. Romeo Dubes, beast in his own right. Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, those are phenomenal players. I mean, they got Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave. They got guys for days. I think Jordan Love could win MVP. He's actually the only person that I have bet for MVP. I think that he's liable to put up some freaking numbers. All right, so here we are. Josh Palmer falls to me here. I already have Ladd McConkey. And as I was saying, people are, when you look at drafts and who people have, that's the number 1 and 2 receivers on a team going picks 80 and 100. And they're falling in their ADP. Now I'm going to snag Herbert definitely as one of the stacks there. And here I am here. Dontavian Wicks is my highest drafted player. And since I'm just doing this for fun, I was looking at Brock Purdy to stack with Kittle there, which I really love. But anytime that I got a chance to take Dontavian Wicks, I have him at 150 ADP. Pretty damn heavy from the offseason. But he's been trending upwards and upwards and upwards. And then he gets put 4th on the depth chart, which is just asinine. I mean, he might be the next Devontae Adams. Man gets open like nobody I've ever seen. His route running is elite. As a rookie, he was just putting people in a blender. Now he comes out number 4 in the depth chart. I don't give a comes out preseason, gets 1 snap, 70-yard touchdown to the house. The dude is he's a phenomenal route runner. He's got everything: size, speed, quickness, and more important, footwork. I mean, it is Devontae Adams-esque. You watch him, it's just a matter of time before that man becomes the guy in the NFL. I'm not even talking about on the Packers, in the NFL. So I'm getting him at 110. Whatever. This one's a little more for fun, just talking it through. But I got some Packers here. I already got Josh Jacobs. Maybe if I can snag a little Minnesota stack late, that would be perfect. So I love that Green Bay Minnesota Week 17 stack. I already have 2 Green Bay guys, so that gives me an opportunity to go late round. Sam Darnold, Naylor, 2 guys that aren't heavily drafted whatsoever, as I was talking about earlier. Those guys could win you your tournament. They could also just absolutely tank. But a guy like Sam Darnold is somebody that I have drafted in the a couple times in the offseason. I just think that now that J.J. McCarthy is out for the season, even more so, Sam Darnold, I think, is the most... It's tough to put it, like, he's not underrated. I mean, he is underrated in my opinion. There's never been a quarterback to have a worse start to his career when it comes to weapons and coaching. His number 1 receiver in New York was Robbie Chosen Anderson. And Jamison Crowder, who's a fine player. And then he goes to Carolina, and DJ Moore was his number 1 receiver, and he did all right. But more importantly, his 2 coaches were Adam Gase and Matt Rule. Quite possibly the 2 worst coaches in the history of football. Last year, he gets a year under Shanahan to learn. Now he goes to Minnesota, who is very quarterback-friendly, great quarterback offense. I think he could do just the same thing that Kirk Cousins did last year, which is not great, but quarterback 15 to 20. Darnold's a gunslinger, and he's got the upside to run the ball. When he was with Carolina, before Christian McCaffrey got hurt, he was leading the damn league in touchdowns through week 3 or whatever. He's got the upside with the legs. But anyway, I'm just spitballing. I'm talking about Sam Darnold. That's when I need to get off subject. Anyways, all right, so obviously right now I've got 0 quarterbacks, which is not ideal. But all my stacks are still in play. Stafford with Puka, Herbert with the Chargers, Deshaun with Cooper. I told you about the stacks that I like for Week 17. It falls right into my hands. Trey Benson is one of these players who is, I hope it didn't just, oh, it auto-drafted me. That son of a bitch. Sometimes the internet on that's the one thing, is the internet on this thing. I should have my phone on my side to do the draft as well. But anyways, he falls there, so I get Herbert and Benson. I'm all right. I got one quarterback. I can live with that. So looking at my squad here early on, or I guess we're about halfway through the draft here, so not early on. But got a nice Chargers stack there. McConkey, Palmer, and Herbert, the number 1-2 receiver. And I think Herbert is still a top 5 quarterback despite all the shit that's been talked about him all season long, all off season. I mean, he's going as quarterback 17. As I said, everyone thinks that Harbaugh's just going to run. They have a mediocre, at best, run game. I mean, it's going to be bottom tier. There's no way they're going to be running the ball that much. And when you're playing in the division with Mahomes, you're going to get some games where you could get some shootouts. But here we are coming around. Let me check it out here. So let's get now this is where you got to get serious. End of the draft is where the money is made. The beginning is, beautiful, but they're all studs. You could throw some blind darts at anybody and could have a great season, could have a bad season, could get injured. You never really know. But the end of the draft is where the money's made. You have to build stacks. If you don't have stacks in Underdog or in Best Ball, you're gonna lose. It's just the way that it is. It decreases your opportunity to win exponentially. If you have one stack, that's bad. If you have 2 stacks, that's meh. If you're able to get 3 stacks, that differentiates you from almost not everybody else in the field, but probably about 60%. I forgot the number. I have them all actually from the past seasons, but it differentiates from about 65% of the teams that are being drafted. So that is just one of those things. Differentiate. Alrighty, coming around here. Let's see what we got. Pick. I'm losing my mind here. Can't find my iPad. That's all right. So, picks 155 and 158. Let's see where we're looking here. Deshaun Watson, put him on the list. Deshaun Watson, I don't like him. Not a huge fan, but you're talking about quarterback 20 for a guy with rushing upside. In last year is something, just throw it out the window. He was coming back. He took a year off. It's not easy to do. Now, if he falls to me there, this spot in the draft, that would be ideal with Amari Cooper, and then maybe find a Miami guy late in the draft, like who knows, maybe a Jonnu Smith or something. I already have 2 good tight ends, maybe a late round Jonnu Smith or something, just to get a little get back. But there goes Deshaun. All right, so quarterbacks are dwindling quickly, and I don't have a ton of options, which is not ideal. So this is where you're going to have to get creative. And it happens sometimes. You get sniped. I've been sniped on just about every one of them. I haven't been talking about quarterbacks, but every single one has just been sniped from me. But, it happens. All right, so guys that I can still get some stacks in on, absolutely none. I'm pretty much fucked in this one. I'm just kidding. But you can make some things happen. Somebody like Baker Mayfield, Jalen McMillan. That's an underrated stack in my opinion. Jalen McMillan has solidified himself as the number 3 receiver out there in Tampa Bay. Godwin and Mike Evans, they're going to draw all the attention. McMillan's got that deep threat ability. Bada bing, bada boom, one time over the top, touchdown. That's what you're looking for. Sometimes when you're getting this late in the draft, 30-yard touchdowns, those guys who can take the top off the defense are huge. One pass, 10 points. Those are the ones that really help you out. All right, so, man, I am in trouble with the quarterback situation here. So I'm going to look for, I'm pretty much screwed. Got to be Baker. Got to be the Bake Show. And I can snag some late. Oh, see the timing. So the timing on the computer is with the stream is just like 3 seconds slow. So that's the second time I've been auto picked, which just absolutely sucks. But anyways, we'll take Cole Kmet. Whatever. That just pissed me off. But all right, Baker Mayfield, quarterback 2. It is what it is. All right, so to round out this draft here, I'm going to need desperately. So I've got the 3 tight ends, which means no more tight ends. I need maybe 1 more quarterback if I can't find stacks, but maybe some late round running backs and see what I can do. This is probably one of my least favorite teams I've drafted, but it is what it is. You never know. Who the hell knows? Maybe I'm sure the guy who won last year drafted his team was like, Jordan Love with Luke Musgrave and who else do you have? Jaden Reed in the late rounds. It's like, man, that's ugly, but sure enough, that was the ticket. All right. So, see if I can get a little more prepared. So next time I do one of these videos, I'm probably going to do a little less talking, a little more preparing, talking about the picks ahead of time. This was a little more of an intro one here. But anyways, so final quarterback, I'm definitely going to go that last quarterback. I'm 100% going to go with Sam Darnold late. Sam Darnold, maybe find that Naylor get back. So I have a nice little Green Bay, Minnesota Week 17 stack, which would be awesome. All right, so looking at those, let me see what we got here. Marshawn Lloyd, somebody that I was pretty high on in the offseason, but man, he is just falling like a brick. He's one of those guys, big upside, but just can't stay healthy. He had the opportunity, 100% had the opportunity to take over that number 2 role over A.J. Dillon. But if a rookie can't stay healthy in the offseason, he just doesn't get the opportunities. And at the end of the day, that is what you need to get the job. All right. Let's see what we got here. All right. Internet's failing me. All right, we're back. All right, up in 8 picks here. Heavy running back. As you can see all at the top of the ADP board. I will be going with 2 running backs here, more than likely. Yeah, Jalen McMillan just went. Where'd he go? Jalen McMillan and K-Dot went. So Baker, I am screwed with that. But sometimes when I say I'm screwed, that just means that, hey, you got to get different. There's somebody that is being drafted in probably 5 or less % of leagues by the name of Trey Palmer, who has deep play upside. You get an injury to Godwin, McMillan, or Evans, and he gets inserted immediately into the lineup and has one big play ability. He got over the top of the defense many times last year and was just slightly missed by Baker. They did draft McMillan, so he gets bumped down, but somebody who could be the difference. All right, so as I was talking about Baker, my guy's getting snagged. Bucky Irving is a interesting case there. So he's definitely a receiving running back. Pretty damn set up for that offense. I think that Rachaad White is pretty damn bad. You look at his efficiency, it's about as bad as it gets in the NFL. He just, purely based on volume, was able to have a decent year. But Baker, check down Charlie. Give me some Bucky Irvin. I'm desperate for some players here. So we'll get a little ugly quarterback running back stack. But let's see what else we can do here. Marshawn Lloyd. As I was talking about Marshawn Lloyd, I was very high on Marshawn Lloyd. His ADP got down all the way to about 1 120 at one point, like a month ago. He's all the way down to 160 ADP. He's going here 180 in the draft. I already got Josh Jacobs. I'll take that. All right, so I'm done with the running back position here. Gonna call that quits there with 5. I think solid 2 running backs. I got a backup for one of them, Benson Irving, rookie running back with upside. All right, so looking here to round out the draft, I got 2 more picks, round 17 and 18. What do I want to do with those 2 picks? We're going to go... we could go with Trey Palmer, who is probably drafted in and he's not drafted in any league. So, look at his ADP here. He's all the way down to the bottom of the line. So that's an interesting one. Might have to go with the double Palmer the Palmers there. If not, the move is Darnold. It's Darnold. Darnold and Naylor. With the whole Jordan Addison ordeal, I'm gonna have to. That's another guy. Naylor. He may get He's gonna get drafted a little more in these upcoming drafts, but that's okay. He's, it is what it is. Jordan Addison, drunk driving. He just injured his ankle. He could get suspended. He's just got a whole bunch of shit going on. Not somebody that I could trust as far as I throw, but if I get him in the right spot, I do like Jordan Addison. But rounding out my draft here, I'm going to go with Darnold and Naylor if they fall. If not, I'm going to go with, if one of them, Darnold or Naylor, disappears before my pick, I'll end up with Trey Palmer and maybe Keaton Mitchell, some miracle down at the end. Not one of my favorite drafts, but not one of my favorite drafts at all. But fun. I enjoyed doing this, and I plan on doing it more. I might just run it back right after this with another one now that I'm got the groove with the stream and whatnot. So I will be getting my iPad so that so I'm not on a delay for making the picks, because that gets sketchy, as I got sucked into an auto pick. But if anybody's in here, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe all year long. Ghost Picks Patrick. Also, I didn't even mention, I got a little promo going. Like I said, I've been off the map for MLB. Just no interest, absolutely no interest at all. Usually I don't start until post All-Star break, but this year I'm starting playoffs, right before the playoffs. And I love playoff baseball. Means a little more, but that'll be light. But NFL and NCAA football. This is actually a 2.5 month special. So it's all the way through October 31st. But this is something I do every year, is the 2-month special once it comes time for the baseball playoffs and the football season. But 15 days early, I figured I'd go ahead and get it up there and get some NFL preseason in there. I also, with all my packages, with all the NFL or college football, they all come with my DFS lineups and whatnot. So, as any freaking handicapper in the world ever says, I think it's a pretty good deal. I'm very personable. I answer any questions, fantasy football, sports betting, anything. I'm always available through email. And just like that, Sam Darnold, 2 picks before me. Fucking sniped all damn. Unbelievable. I should have been doing a little preparation here for what the hell I'm going to do. But, shoot. Looks like it's Trey Palmer. If Trey Palmer somehow goes crazy this year and the week 15, 16, 17 and come back here as a win, what's the pot for this one? $50K. I'll have to share it with whoever, because that's just an absolute miracle. All right, final pick in the draft. Who we going here? Shit. I will say, so actually, I have absolutely, positively 0 Patriots. But the Chargers do play the Patriots in Week 17, I'm just going to do it. Whatever. Drake May just scored a rushing touchdown. Who cares? But that's just for the Week 17 get back, just for that idea. So Chargers, Patriots, Week 17, that's one of those ugly damn games that not many people are going to be targeting. Absolutely awful draft. Awful. But who knows? Never know. Shoot, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to run this right back and do another draft. Just because I'm having fun. No one is even in here watching. But it's okay. You can go back, watch it on YouTube. You can fast forward, check it out, see my thoughts. Hopefully I get a different spot in this draft so I can talk about a little bit of different strategery. Late round, first round, you just got to go with, I tried to get some stacks going early. Ended up with absolutely zero. Just got sniped left and right. Only regret of that draft might be not drafting Purdy and stacking them with Kittle there, but that is okay. We'll live with it. So here's the lineup. We got Herb with the Chargers, McConkey and Palmer. Baker with Bucky Irving and Trey Palmer. Very unlikely that anyone has that lineup. I mean, I'd probably say sub 1% of lineup of teams have that right there, which shot in the dark would be a miracle. Tight ends got no stacks because I suck. That was just awful there on my behalf. But running backs, love the running backs room. Wide receiver, I love the wide receiver room. I just wish I could have got a couple more stacks or got the Minnesota get back. But, it happens. And with that, we'll run it right back. Let's run another one. Just one of the, let me see. So this is the idea. This is the web page here. If you've never been on Underdog, the sprint, they got different kind of ones here. So this is the main one here, the Best Ball Mania. I have quite a bit of those, but I would like to save the rest of my lineups for post preseason. So these ones here, when you get these, let me see, look, a little puppy here, $5. It's cheap. It's like, it's for fun. Not for fun. I'm looking to make money. But pretty big pot, 225,000 entrants. So there you go, 225,000. So you're competing against 225,000 people in this one. Best Ball Mania is over 1 million. So you really have to be different in that one. But let's get back at it here. We'll see how we get on this draft here. $45 minutes. The Zoom's going to end. So, I'm an idiot. It's going to cut out. Good luck. God bless. Grind on. I'm going to post this next draft here. I'm going to clip it, make it short so you can see. But I'm out of here. Good luck. God bless. Grind. Look, what did I get? Once again, same pick. 10th pick in the draft this time. Some bitch. I'm actually going to run this stream until the whatchamacallit gives out the Zoom, and we'll get back at it. And also, if you're wondering, this is brought to you by Citizen. Just kidding. Though, if Zen wants to sponsor me, bring it on. All right, Underdog, and it's the dogs. Can't beat the dogs. All right. See what we got here. This one's going to be a little more professional. I'll probably be doing talking about best ball in general and introducing it. And this one will be purely me drafting and my best strategies. Yeah. Get the old iPad out for the drafting, for actual drafting. All right, pick 10. All right, so pick 10 here. Bijan would be ideal. Sometimes you'll catch him falling to 10. Definitely unlikely. Let's see. One thing that I loved was the Puka on this back end was the Puka Marvin Harrison. Start off with the first two picks. but not with Jahmyr Gibbs going down. That kind of has bumped Marvin Harrison up, and that, it's tough to get those two in the same draft now. Let's see. Hopefully A.J. Brown falls. If not, we'll go ahead and just run this with Garrett Wilson. Actually, I'm going to get very different with this one here. All right, Garrett Wilson off the rip. And then that I think is, I am way higher on market than, is one Devon Achane. You got to stay healthy for best ball, but predicting injuries is like predicting the weather. You never know what the hell is going to happen. You can't predict injuries. You can't predict running back injuries. Somebody got injured last year. They've been injured the past 3 years. Sure, it's not ideal, but it'll probably give you a higher fantasy value drafting them. Do I like him over Jonathan Taylor and Saquon Barkley? I don't care. We're going for it. Devon Achane, to get a little different. He's definitely not sure as shit not going to fall to me in the third round, and I like a little Achane. I'm very high on Achane this year. The one thing about Mike McDaniels is that man gets his best minds away, and when it's talking about fantasy football, that is all you can ask for is opportunity, and Mike McDaniel will shove it down your throat. So, Achane, if he's able to get freaking just 15 touches a game, I mean, that is not a lot at all. But with 15, he still has potential to be a top 3 player in all of fantasy. His upside is insane. His rookie numbers were so far off the charts. It's when you look at pictures of running back efficiency, there's Christian McCaffrey, and then there's everybody else, and then there's Devon Achane. I mean, the guy is just an absolute beast. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get on into the 3-4 turn here. So picks 34 and 39. One I like in this area, as I was talking in that last draft, one of my favorite Week 17 games is Houston and Baltimore. This 10th pick sets up perfectly for Tank Dell, Zay Flowers in the 3rd, 4th round. Yes, they both have Week 14 buys, and you don't want to have too many people on a buy, but quite possibly could be 2 top 5 receivers this year. Top 10. And they're going picks 20 or wide receiver 24, 26. I think they have potential, big time potential. Especially given the offseason additions. So Stephon Diggs, yes, I think he's a diva. Yes, I think he's by far the number 3 receiver on the Texans. But he's going to take some eyes, and I don't think he's going to take a ton of targets. You look at his numbers last year with Josh Allen. He could not get open like he once could. He's slowed down a pretty good bit. And Tank Dell already has that chemistry. So I think Tank Dell is easily ahead of Stephon Diggs. And Nico Collins, when they were playing together, when Nico and Tank Dell were playing together, they were right there. Tank Dell was step for step with them all the way. All right. And we saw it in the preseason already. First game, Tank Dell, CJ Stroud, 1 drive, touchdown. It's just money. Alrighty, so coming up, 2 picks here. If DK Metcalf falls, though, which he does not, I'm huge. That's one thing I didn't get to talk about in the last draft. The Seahawks. So after I make these picks, I will talk about, look at that, Tank Dell. Oh, did they go? Hold on. Oh, wow. Someone went Zay way up there. All right. We'll give my guy Tank, and we'll see where we go after that. We can, with the next 2 picks, if Lamar were to happen to fall. No, that's not happening. All right. So I got Pacheco in the last draft. If he falls to me, I might take him again. I would double up on the Week 6 running back buy. And essentially take a 0 for that week in the running back position. unless some of the later guys that I get were able to pick up some points. But, Pacheco goes. All right, so as I was talking about, Week 17 get-backs, I'm getting just snipers on deck. Higgins or ETN for me here, and I gotta go with one Mr. T. Higgins. I absolutely hate him when it comes to fantasy. Every single year he lets me down because he mysteriously comes up with an injury. But like I said, can't predict injuries. Christian McCaffrey, 3 years straight, injured. 2 years straight of 300 plus touches, just complete beast mode. You see it all the times. Injuries are not predictive. Just because somebody has been injured in the past does not mean they're going to be injured this year. Just because somebody has been healthy in the past doesn't mean they're not one hit away from a season-ending injury. It's the NFL. Sucks, but it happens. All right. I want to talk about coaching. That's one thing as well. That's my biggest advantage. I think that I play the coaches. I try my hardest. I look at these teams that last season had a completely different coaching staff, a completely different philosophy, and therefore these players are maybe a little undervalued. So somebody that comes to mind immediately are the Seattle Seahawks. So when you look at the Seattle Seahawks, yes, they had a decent pass rate last year, but they had the slowest offense snaps per play in the NFL. They didn't get many plays per game just based off pace alone. Now, they get my guy, from offensive coordinator from Washington University, Michael Penix. Obviously not Michael. I think Michael Penix is the best quarterback in the draft. But that is here nor there, and that's my hot take of the century. Same thing I said about Mahomes a couple years ago when I said Mahomes was the best quarterback in the draft. That got lucky. He turned out to be the best quarterback of all time. But I think Michael Penix is right there. I watched him in college many times. I think he's got the best footwork, ball placement. I think his potential is through the roof. I don't like that he's behind Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins is dust and 1 or 2 years down the line. Anyways, completely went off subject. Washington last year ran all kinds of 5 wide, 3 receiver sets, spread out the field, and slung the rock. Offensive coordinator is going to come in there. That is his philosophy. You got DK Metcalf, JSN, Tyler Lockett, Geno Smith, Zach Charbonnet, Noah Fant, Kenneth Walker. I'm a big fan of that offense as a whole. And they play in a conference that's you're going to have to score points against the Rams, Niners, and Cardinals. And Rams, Niners, Cardinals, you get 2 dome games a year out of those ones as well, which just simply talking mathematics, the average points per game in a dome is more than outside. Adds up over the course of the year. All right, coming around, if Anthony Richardson falls here, I do like Christian Kirk, but I already have 2 week 12 buys. Man, I tell you, I love that. Give me some Jacksonville stacks. I'm taking T-Law. And one thing about best ball is you want to set yourself up for stacks. So Jacksonville has Ingram, Thomas, and Kirk. They all go before Trevor Lawrence. If you're able to get 2 of the 3, the probability that Trevor Lawrence falls a little further in the draft is higher. So keep that in mind. And that goes for other guys too. The Texans is one of the hardest ones to stack just because they all go so early. Trying to separate the rounds a little bit between quarterback and stacks and whatnot is definitely who of you. But let's see what we got here. All right. Kittle falls again. Jaden Reed. Give me some Packers. I'm going to go for that Packers stack again. I'm going for Reed, and I'm going for Love. So quarterbacks that I'm looking for here, I'm looking for Jordan Love as my number 1 quarterback. I talked about him. I think he's my only MVP bet. So if I'm betting him for MVP, sure as shit no I'm betting him I like him in fantasy. I have this. So this one is a heavy wide receiver set up early. So right now I will be looking for these quarterback tight ends in these middle rounds. I think this is where you get all kinds of value. You look at these tight ends, Sam Laporta, Travis Kelce going 30th overall, 35. I think that's just so early. I don't quite understand that. Trey McBride is probably my favorite tight end this year. He's going in that 40 range. If you ever find him at that 50, I'm a big fan there. But these tight ends here, straight down the line, I think that Evan Ingram, Jake Ferguson, Brock Bowers, and David Njoku, those 4 tight ends right there, I think all have potential to finish in the top 5. Evan Ingram might be who so I will be going with, let's see, pick 82, hopefully either Ingram or Thomas Falls, and that will help solidify that Seahawks stack. And I think the Zoom will end here in about 5 or so minutes, so I want to give you a little insight of what I'm thinking after starting this draft. So Jacksonville, Green Bay, great stacks. They play Tennessee and Minnesota. I think those are 2 games that could be high scoring in week 17. So definitely like those games, a little bounce back there. Let's see what we got. 8 picks away. And as far as E plus EV goes, it's the nerd terminology, sure, whatever, but you don't want to be negative EV in that you're giving yourself a worse chance to win. Now, one example of that, you can't stack 5 guys on one team. That just eliminates your expected value of expected points. Only so many guys can score in any given week. So 3 guys, I think, is about the ideal number that you're looking for a stack on a team. But 2 is plenty. 2 is plenty. All right, so Brian Thomas goes. We'll see who falls here. But either one of these tight ends, I'm a big fan of either one of these. Or Njoku. So maybe a little 82, 87. I'll probably go ahead and snag Jordan Love with that 2nd pick. Yeah. That way I don't have to go ahead and risk that one. All right, so we're going to go ahead and lock in Ferguson again. So Ferguson is the only guy that we are running back twice so far. But big fan, as I said. I think that in that offense, it's going to be centered around CeeDee Lamb. But, one receiver can only do so much. And Dak, Jake Ferguson, they're building chemistry. Last year, toward the end of the season, they were phenomenal. Playoffs. Give me Ferguson this year to have a big year. All right. Love at 87. That would be absolutely beautiful. And then let's see what we got. If we don't get him, we already have the Jacksonville stack going. So DeAndre Hopkins, he was going around that 65 mark before his injury. Oh, but Jordan Love falls, so no worries there. We will get the future MVP. All right, 1 quarterback, 1 tight end, 1 running back. Decent spread. This is more my style. Whether it's not like last one where I was waiting until the 12th, 13th round to get my first quarterback. You got to get somebody decent in there, especially getting a stack early. You don't want to be relying on all kinds of late round stacks. Otherwise, you will get blocked out, as I did last draft about 6 different times. All right, so Green Bay, Minnesota stack, Jacksonville, Tennessee stack. Dallas, Philly is one of those games. If you could snag maybe the Philly guys, all go early though, so that's one of those that's tough there. Yeah, Jets, Bills, another one. Jets, Bills is usually a low-scoring game, but with Aaron Rodgers back there, you never really know. The Bills usually play a little slower against the Jets just because of that defense, but here nor there. All right, let's look at these next rounds here. 106 and 111. You already know good and well Dontavian Wicks is coming home as my number 6 receiver. And since I have Jordan Love, there's a better chance that and Jaden Reed that these Packers will fall because, you know, people don't want the stacks. People don't have the opportunity to stack. So they're more likely to fall. Let's see. Interesting one here. With injuries today, you always have to be monitoring injuries. Jonathan Brooks is somebody who won't be playing the first, probably the first 4 weeks. He'll probably go ahead and go on the PUP list for the first 4 weeks, and will be active week 5. The most important points come at the end of the season. So you'd rather have back heavy than front heavy any day of the week. So if Jordan Brooks were to fall to 106, I'm definitely going to snag him, especially given, I don't know exactly what the injury to Chuba Hubbard was today, but apparently he got cheap-shotted, and he 100% got cheap-shotted in practice and went down with a knee injury. I don't think there's been any update on that yet, but if Chuba Hubbard is not 100%, Jonathan Brooks has massive potential in a bad offense to be a heavy target out of the backfield. I think, as a Panther fan, Jonathan Brooks right before me, sniped. All right, so here, I don't like any of these running backs except for Tajay Spears, who is, I'm just sky high on Tajay Spears. But we'll go with Wicks first just because he's already up there. And that would just solidify the Green Bay stack just to the T. Man, I love that. Love Reed Wicks. That could possibly be one of my favorite stacks of the year. I love Romeo Doubs too, just as much as Reed. But once again, I thought about going Doubs and Love around the turn, but you don't want to go with too many of those guys. All right, so hopefully Tajay Spears falls here. If not, I'll probably go Javonte Williams. That's somebody who's talking about injuries, similar to what I was talking about. All right, so he's alive. Tajay Spears. I think Tajay Spears is a top 15 running back in the league. I loved him in college. I loved him last year in his limited snaps. Now he goes to now he's in a Tennessee offense with a new offensive coordinator who's a little more pass heavy, and that fits Tajay Spears. Tajay Spears is not someone who's going to be banging like that, but should get good amount of opportunity. Tony Pollard, we saw him last year. Tony Pollard might just be a bad running back. I hate that, I'm as far as dynasty goes, I'm about as high on Tajay Spears as any running back there is. And I have him in just about all my dynasty leagues. And when they signed Tony Pollard, I was extremely butthurt. But it happens. I think that he is by far better than Tony Pollard. And since he's getting drafted after Tony Pollard, opportunity, cost, give him to me. All right, so this is what I was talking about earlier with the quarterbacks falling potentially a little further if you already have the heavy stack going there. So the only person that will take Trevor Lawrence more than likely is the guy who has who snagged Brian Thomas. So there's a good chance Trevor Lawrence will go because they did get Brian Thomas a little. He did reach on Brian Thomas. So if he reached on Brian Thomas, he'll probably reach on Trevor Lawrence as well. But that's all right. It happens. If Trevor Lawrence falls, though, that will be a given here in... Just got to make it through another 6 picks. Unlikely, but, man can dream. And if he does not fall, somebody like Jerry Jeudy, I already have Devin A-Chain, and that is that Week 17 game I'm talking about, Miami versus Cleveland. Jerry Jeudy is not the popular stack in that one. Obviously, Amari Cooper's number 1 wide receiver, but Jerry Jeudy, man, I think he's just horrible. He can't catch the ball worth a damn, but he gets open. He gets open consistently, and in an offense where that play action is just golden. Big fan of what they do. Oh, look, there he goes. Trevor Lawrence right in front of me. And it wasn't. Look, Trevor, just for no good reason. The guy's got no. I mean, Trevor Lawrence with ETN. I mean, come on. Come on. Come on. You're killing me. Killing me, A. Brock 21. And Judy goes the pick in front of me as well. All right, well, only got 2 running backs, and I've been talking about I'm high on Trey Benson. So, whatever. All right, so a couple running backs, tight end, a little more balance here in this lineup, which I like. Running back, we'll look for some of these tight ends, see if we can't get some stacks going here in the late round. So some of the late round stacks that I like, the Giants. The Giants are free. No one wants the Giants. You can go ahead and get Danny Dimes, Darius Slayton, Theo Johnson in the last 3 rounds. 1, 2, 3. Bada bing, bada boom. I think Daniel Jones, if you look at him 2 years ago, the year they went to the playoffs and did their thing, that's what I think is going to happen this year. Maybe not make the playoffs, but I think they're going to be pretty damn competitive. So as I was talking about the get-backs, I've got Green Bay to the T. Give me Ty Chandler, somebody like that. Week 17, Ty Chandler is behind Aaron Jones. I think Aaron Jones defies logic. As everybody gets older and gets more inefficient, Aaron Jones just keeps on ticking, but he's always injured, always finds a way to get injured. And as I said, you can't predict injuries, but hey, Ty Chandler, I already got Green Bay stat going. Why not go for that Week 17 get back with Minnesota in the Dome? All right, so coming around here, as I was talking about, you don't want to get too high on one team. Well, I might just go ahead and snag Luke Musgrave if that comes around, because I'm that high on the Packers. I think they're the most well-balanced team in the history of football. Jordan Love, I think on any given day, he could throw 3 touchdowns to all 3 of those guys. Huge fan of Green Bay this year. Could not be higher on Green Bay. Just could not be higher. All right. So looking at some of the stack potential late round here, it's not looking ideal, but Garrett Wilson is where I'm looking. Maybe snag a little Aaron Rodgers with a Malachi Corley. Malachi Corley he was my favorite receiver in the draft after like the first round. Malachi Corley out of Western Kentucky, monster. This dude after the catch, he's a little guy, but he is I think he's going to fit right into this Jets offense with Mike Williams and Garrett Wilson. I think he's going to fit right perfectly into that Randall Cobb, Aaron Rodgers in the slot. The man gets open. He's tough after the catch. So given that I already have Garrett Wilson and I'm looking for a quarterback, Aaron Rodgers looks like he could be right perfectly in that 154 range. And then the late round stacks that I like. Let's go through them while this Zoom is still live. I did go Baker last draft. You can go Baker, K-Dot, and McMillan. Late round stacks. The Giants, you go Baker or Jones, Theo Johnson, Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson. You got a couple different options there. Some more late round stacks that I like. Some flyers. You know, you get into the Panthers. I won't even talk about the Panthers because I'm a fan and they absolutely suck. But Bo Nix. Bo Nix is probably going to be the starter all the way through the season. I don't think he is any good at all. You watch him in the preseason, he's got the worst footwork I maybe have ever seen of anybody in the history of football, and that man's been a quarterback for 5 years in college. But they're going to be losing a lot, and when you get losing, you get more passing attempts and more potential. You know, you get somebody, I don't know why more. Did Aaron Rodgers just go? God, I mean, I'm just disgusted over here. These people are killing me. All right, well, once again, stuck with some quarterback issues. Who did this guy just? Rodgers. And he's got nobody. He's got Rodgers with no stacks. These fucking... You get sniped. It's what happens in this style of thing. People just, for no reason, will just take people. And it is what it is. All right, in a tough spot here. Ray Davis, though. Ray Davis. One behind James Cook. I think that he is easily going to take over Johnson for the backup role. Ray Davis is one of these people in college at Kentucky. Run, catch, pass block. He can do it all. You saw it in the preseason game. On back-to-back plays, he a strong run and then catches the ball out of the flat and runs somebody's face over. He's one of these guys who in an elite offense. I already have a Jet, a Bill, week 17. Ray Davis could be one of those guys. Once again, stuck with the quarterbacks. Just stuck. So we'll see what we can do. See if we can't make something out. So 15, 16, 17, 18. We got 4 picks left in this draft. We'll see what we can do. I probably should have gone, honestly, right there in hindsight, I probably should have gone with Fant and Geno Smith, considering I needed a tight end and a quarterback, and I'm so high on them. But that's all right. All right. Demarcus Robinson, late round. If I wanted him last draft when I had Puka. Somehow he went like 145, like 25 spots ahead of ADP. And once you get down to the end of the draft, rounds like 13, 14, 15, I don't really care about ADP. You just want to build your stacks out. And that has just not been lucky for me. All right, so we're going to go with the Giants stack for sure. And then I'm going to give it the... Darnold. I already got the... all right, so came into play. Just how I thought it would. Psych. So options for... I still want 2 more quarterbacks in my last 4 picks and 2 stacks with those guys. If I do go Bo Nix, Troy Franklin. I don't know why more teams don't draft quarterback receiver combinations from college. You already have the chemistry. If they're good enough to be in the NFL, if you don't have to reach in the draft, I don't understand why more teams don't do it. They already have the chemistry, which is always key. Wide receiver timing routes, quarterback wide receiver timing routes is a big part of the NFL. So having that chemistry is big. No chance that Fant and Geno Smith fall to these 2 picks, but if they do, that's where I'm going. All right. Fant just got to fall 4 picks now. Don't do it, HR. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right. Can we get lucky? I would rather, at this point, take Geno, though. I need Geno. I need Geno. Week 10 quarterback buys, which means that Sammy D better stay healthy for Week 10. And there goes Fant, the pick after me. Despicable. Absolutely despicable. Absolutely despicable. Alright, so I might just be stuck on Geno. So actually, with these last 3 picks, I'm going to pivot from my original thought. And since I have already these Week 10 buys, gonna go for it. I was talking about it. This is one of my favorite late round stacks. You get them literally the last 3 picks almost every single time, for free. People don't want these guys. Daniel Jones just keeps on falling. Theo Johnson is somebody who I am very high on, especially for a last pick in a draft. When looking at this dude here, hold on, where is all right, never mind. So Theo Johnson, tight end, absolute beast. One of the highest athletic scorers in the draft. Now he's currently 4th on the Giants depth chart, so he has fallen even further in ADP, and people are not drafting him, which is, I think, a travesty, because he's behind 2 blocking tight ends and Bellinger. These guys are not receiving tight ends whatsoever. He has a front seat position to go take that job, that number 1 job, and be productive right off the rip. The Giants don't have weapons. I mean, they got Malik Neighbors, and that's it. So, Darius Slayton is somebody who I just think is just criminally disrespected. Just not getting drafted at all. I mean, look at him. 750 yards back-to-back seasons. He just gets no respect. And he's gonna be getting the snaps. He's gonna be out there. So you're getting these 3 guys, last 3 picks. Big fan. Hopefully they all fall. Q and Q. If not, I'll be taking a Darnold's. We can DQ Darnold. So actually, I'll just talk about some of these guys here in the final rounds. Dylan Loeb, Big Whites out of New Hampshire. This guy here is almost. He's one of my highest draft picks this year. One of my highest percentages of drafts. I'm a huge fan of the guys. He's a poor man CMC, punt return, kick return. Did everything in college. Obviously, it was poor competition, but he came out. He scored well in the combine, and really has it all. And given that he's behind Zamir White in a run-heavy offense, Zamir White is not good. I think that could be Loeb's job by the end of the season. He's already solidified. He's already in practice as a rookie. He's already taken the first-round reps as a third-down back. So he's somebody I have in just about every single DraftKings lineup I have, because you get that full-point PPR. And in that last pick, people aren't drafting them. That's where you get your advantage. Take your advantage where you can. If people aren't drafting them, that means that you're the only one to have them when you come time for the playoffs, which all it takes is one big game, and that's the big timer. Last season, it was Juwan Johnson was actually the one. I forgot to mention him last. The winner last year had a random-ass pick on Juwan Johnson, the tight end for the Saints, and sure enough, week 17, he had 2 touchdowns on like 3 catches and ended up being the one. But here we go. That's the final draft. I like that one much better, much more well-rounded. Stacks all around. Geno, I didn't get any stacks because that pissed me off. But that was probably bad on my part going Geno there. But it is what it is. I'm a big fan of Geno this year, so he's by himself. So hopefully he just balls out. But A-Chain, hero running back. These guys here, I got Spears, Benson, Chandler, Ray Davis. Young running backs who are all one injury away from being very productive players. And they could have their Spears, Benson, and Chandler should have roles either way, even in a 2-back set. And then looking at receivers, just absolutely love the receiver set. Wilson, Dell, Higgins, Kirk, Reed, Wicks, Slayton. Just big fan. And then tight ends, Ferguson, Musgrave, once again, heavy on the Packers. But anyways, It was fun. I'll be back on it tomorrow night. I'll do it. Be running it back tomorrow night with another one. So thanks for tuning in if you did. It was a long-ass video. Hopefully you enjoyed it if you did. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm out of here.